Okay, we're moving on to the next logical step, and we're going to put everything together that we've learned and start solving rational expressions. Notice it says day one. We're going to spend 2 days on this just because it can be a bit of a confusing topic, especially coming from where we've been, and we'll talk about that right now. So, in the setup review, we have a simplified problem and a solved problem. Okay? And the solve, this is not as complicated as what we've been dealing with, but we're just using it as an example of where we're going. So with the simplify, we need to find the LCD always. Okay? And the LCD is going to be 5x. So we look at the 4/5 and say, do we have a 5? Yes. Do we have an x? No. And we look at the x, and we say, do we have a 5? No. And remember, with an expression, we can only multiply by 1. We can't change anything, but we can multiply anything by 1, because 1 doesn't change the value. So when we do this, we get 4 times x plus 2 times 5 all over 5x. We could take this one step further and factor out 2 to see if it helps with anything, which it won't. I meant to put a 2x there, sorry. Okay, so it doesn't help us. And either one of these answers is appropriate. Okay. Now, if we could have pulled a 5 out, we could have been able to cancel the 5 on the bottom, or if we pulled an x out. But pulling the 2 out really makes no difference for simplifying, but we always check it just to make sure. Now, we're still going to find the LCD when we're doing a solve problem, but we're going to treat it differently. And hopefully you're going to like this. So, we really have a 1 here. So we're just looking for the first number that 1, 2, and 3 go into as a multiple, and that would be 6. Now here's the beauty, watch what happens. I don't have to do, I'm going to get rid of my denominators. So I'm going to multiply this by 6, this by 6, and this by 6. And my denominator is going to cancel out. So I have 6 times 5, which is 30, divided by 1, is 30. I'm going to have minus 6x divided by 3, which, if you want to, you can simplify in one step and say 3 goes into 6 2 times, so minus 2x. Either way you want to do it. If you want to take 2 steps or 1 step, that's fine. Equals half of 6 is 3. And now I'm going to subtract 30 and get negative 2x equals negative 27. Divide by negative 2, and I get an answer of x equals 27 over 2, or 13 and a half, or 13.5. Any one of those is acceptable. So let's take that new concept to rational expressions. So remember, when adding or subtracting, we can only multiply each rational expression by 1. It has to be the number 1. That's why we multiply by 5 over 5, or 2x plus 3 over 2x plus 3. But when we're solving, we can multiply anything we want to as long as we do it to both sides. So with adding and subtracting, we have to be fair top to bottom. And on equations, we have to be fair left to right. So we have to make sure everything happens on both sides. So here are the steps. We're going to factor, just like we've been doing. We're going to determine the LCD, like we've been doing. The new thing is, we're going to multiply every term by the LCD on the top only. That's going to make everything on the bottom cancel out. We're going to cancel or reduce common factors, which means now no more denominators. We're going to solve and always check for extraneous solutions. Values that make the denominator equal to 0. So let's look at this example we have here. We have 10 over x squared minus 2x over plus 4 over x equals 5 over x minus 2. Factor. Step 1. We factor and get x minus 2. We're going to pull an x out of there. Now we look at what we have. We have x and x minus 2. X minus 2. That is our LCD. Just one of each. Step 3. We're going to multiply every term. Okay? So we're going to multiply the 10 times the LCD, the 4 times the LCD, and the 5 times the LCD. Step 4, cancel where you can. So in the first fraction, the entire thing cancels out, leaving just the 10. On the second fraction, the x's cancel out, leaving just the 4 times x minus 2. And on the other side, the x minus 2's cancel out, leaving us with just the 5x. Notice we have no denominators left. Now, just basic equation solving. Distribute our 4. Join like terms. Solve. Now, even though we got the answer 2, we have to go back and check it. And it means check it on the original equation. So if we plug in a 2 right here, we get 2 squared is 4, minus 2 times 2, 4, which is 0. We cannot have a 0 in the denominator. If we plug a 2 in here, we get 2 minus 2. We get 0 as a denominator. No go. Can't do it, therefore it's extraneous. So let's get into our examples. Always state the LCD. So you're going to see a flash. Number 1 got changed, so that's really the only change. So I'm inserting the new one right here. So the LCD of this one is going to be 2 times x minus 2. Now here's the beauty of this. Since we're solving, we do not need to find a common denominator. Okay? We're going to multiply every term by this just on the top. Okay? So I'm going to multiply this by 2x minus 2 in parentheses. I'm going to multiply here times 2 times x minus 2 in parentheses. And I'm going to multiply here times 2 times x minus 2 in parentheses. Now, remember, this is 3 over 1. So x minus 2 cancels here, leaving me just 2 times 4x. Plus, the 2's cancel here, leaving me 3 times x minus 2. And then on the other side, I have 3 times 2, which is 6 times x minus 2. Now I simplify. 2 times 4x is 8x. Plus, distribute the 3x minus 6. Don't forget to distribute to the negative 2. Equals 6x minus 12. That leaves me with 11x minus 6 equals 6x minus 12. 5x equals negative 6 when I add 6 to both sides. And that leaves me with x equals negative 6 over 5. And when I go back to the original equation, obviously x equals negative 6 over 5 minus 2 is not going to give me 0 on the bottom, so that is my solution. Legal fraction. Number 2. We have an x minus 2. We have an x plus 3. So guess what? That is our LCD. And now we're going to multiply both by both sides, both terms, by x minus 2x plus 3. Now we cancel what we'll cancel. This cancels with that, leaving us 4 times x plus 3. If you want to distribute it right away and get 4x plus 12, you can go right there if you're good with it. Just be careful. Equals, the x plus 3 cancels, negative 1 times x minus 2 if you want to distribute this right away and get negative x plus 2, that's fine. I'm going to add x. I'm running out of room, so I'm going to do both steps at once. 5x equals negative 10. Divide by 5, x is negative 2. We check that. We plug it in here. Negative 2 minus 2 is negative 4. Check. Plug it in here. 3 plus negative 2 is 1. Check. Answer is x equals negative 2. Number 3. First step, always factor if need be. Difference of two squares, x minus 3, x plus 3. Now, we look and see what we have. It's over 1. So we need an x minus 3 and an x plus 3. That's our LCD. Well, this is easy over here because when we multiply this side by x minus 3, x plus 3, everything is going to cancel. Sorry, this fraction. I'm going to multiply this one times x minus 3, x plus 3. The x plus 3 is going to cancel. And then I'm going to multiply this by x minus 3, x plus 3. And nothing's going to cancel. So what am I left with? 6 plus 5 times, now here's a little hint. I could write, well, I could distribute it in one fell swoop or not. Equals, here's where I meant to have the hint. We already know what this is. It's x squared minus 9. And we need to do that because we're going to have to solve for the quadratic possibly. Distribute the 5. We get 6 plus 5x minus 15 equals x squared minus 9. All my combined like terms, 6 minus 15, 5x minus 9 equals x squared minus 9. I'm going to add 9 to both sides. And I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides. It's going to run out of room. That leaves me with x squared minus 5x equals 0. Now, I just factor out an x. And I set both equal to 0. X equals 0 and x equals positive 5. Now I need to check both of those. Oh no, 0. I can't have that in the denominator. Not exactly. If I plug in a 0 to x squared minus 9, I get 0 minus 9. Negative 9 is okay. If I plug it in x plus 3, 0 plus 3 is 3, so it's okay. The only time you got to worry about getting a 0 is if there's a single x in the denominator. Otherwise, it's most likely going to work out. The 5 definitely works out. 25 minus 9 and 5 plus 3. So our answers are 0 and 5. Number 4, factor. X minus 5, x plus 2. Hey, we already have that here and here. So x minus 5, x plus 2. Going to multiply every term. X minus 2, sorry, x minus 5, x plus 2. X minus 5, x plus 2. X minus 5, x plus 2. Every time. Every term gets it. So, go back to the first fraction. The x plus 2 is canceled. I end up with x times x minus 5. I'm just going to go right to the distributing. X squared minus 5x. Second fraction. The x minus 5 is canceled, which leaves me with plus 7 times x plus 2. So I'm just going to distribute right now. Plus 7x plus 14. And then on this side, everything cancels, leaving me just 14. So on this side, I get x squared plus 2x plus 14 equals 14. Subtract 14 from both sides. I get x squared plus 2x equals 0. Factor out an x. And then set everything equal to 0. And I get x equals 0 and x equals negative 2. Now I plug those in. 0 plus 2 is 2. 0 minus 5, negative 5. 0 squared minus 0 minus 10 is negative 10. Check. That answer works out. Negative 2. First off, I'm busted. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Extraneous. So my only answer is 0. Good news, number 5. We're going to skip that one. And the only reason is because at the bottom we end up with something that won't factor and we need to use a quadratic formula. So we're throwing that one out the window. Number 6, our LCD is right there. X plus 4, x minus 1. So I multiply everything by x plus 4. X minus 1, top only. So once again, each term by x plus 4, x minus 1. Now we go through and have fun canceling. X plus 4 cancels. We get 6x times x minus 1. Once again, if you want to distribute right away, you can. Plus 4 times the entire thing, x plus 4, x minus 1. We have a little bit of work here. Equal to, the x minus 1's cancel, and we get 2x plus 2 times x plus 4. Now we just have some foiling and distributing to do, and we're on our way. 6x squared minus 6x. Plus 4 times, I'm going to FOIL, x squared plus 4x minus 1x minus 4 equals 2x squared plus 2x plus 8x plus 8. Now we just clean it all up. We still send this 4 in everywhere. After we do that, we end up with 10x squared plus, so it's be a 6x minus 16 equal to 2x squared plus 10x plus 8. Now we move everything over to the left side. We're going to minus 2x squared, minus 10x, and minus 8. Now we're going to end up with 8x squared minus 4x minus 24 equal to 0. Now we're going to factor. To make life easier, we're going to pull out a 4 first. And then we're going to get 2x times x is your x squared. We need a 3 and a 2 to make 6. And we want to have 1 left over. So this will give us our 4x, which we want to be negative. And this will give us our 3x, which will be positive. Now we just set each of them equal to 0. And we are finished. After we check for extraneous variable solutions. So negative 3/2 will obviously work. We'll get some fractions on the bottom, but they work. And then positive 2. 4 plus 2 is 6. 2 minus 1 is 1. We're clear. So we have 2 answers for this problem.